What's up, everyone? It's Scotty with Money Investing. Welcome aboard another Market Open live stream here. So if you guys can see me and hear me, just give me a thumbs up. Just want to make sure the audio and the video is working well. And this is a public live stream, so it'll be open to everybody. And again, thank you so much for joining in. S&P 500 slightly lower, down about 45 basis points at the moment. QQQ is down about 42 basis points, and the Dow Jones also struggling pre-market, down about 25 basis points, with the 10-year yields once again now rotating lower, down 1.89%, with the volatility slightly green here, up over 4.7% on the day so far. So again, if you guys can see me, hear me, just give me a thumbs up, and we should be all set and all ready to go. So works, Caddy, works. That's all I can say. Great. Perfect. So going over some upgrades and downgrades here. So Morgan Stanley reiterating DIX as overweight. Then we've got ASML downgrade to hold from buy. Bernstein reiterate Tesla as underperform. Then we've got First Republic downgraded to sell from neutral. They did report their earnings today. They are slightly selling off over 20%. MoffettNathanson reiterates Netflix as market perform. Then we've got Netflix as a buy from Citi. Zebra Technologies, another really phenomenal company. It has been upgraded from Credit Suisse. And then we've got Walmart as overweight from KeyBank. Amazon as outperformed from Credit Suisse. And Meta as a buy from Citi as well. Did a video on Meta yesterday talking about the new app launched by ByteDance, which is going to be Lemon 8. Anyway, so First Republic down 25.8%. So pretty significant sell-off here. Pre-market trading as low as under $12 per share. So the earnings and revenue did beat, but the deposit base for First Republic was down 72 billion. In other words, that's how much it was outflowed or plunged, nearly 72 billion or 41% during the brutal first quarter that saw customers yank money from the bank amid crisis that felled three other lenders. And First Republic Bank set deposits of 104.5 billion at the end of the first quarter. A figure included 30 billion deposits received from larger U.S. banks. So if you take that 30 billion deposit from other larger banks out of the equation, they had close to $100 billion in deposits leaving the bank, which is a pretty substantial number. So deposit outflows were unprecedented, and the company said the outflows have slowed and it is taking steps to right the ship, including significant reductions to executive compensation. So that's good. Cutting back on corporate office space and layoffs, and said it expects to reduce workforce by approximately 20 to 25% in the second quarter. So they are going to be doing more layoffs in order to contain some of the cost pressures that the deposit outflows carry. So definitely selling off now under 1190 at the moment. So as a result, KRE, which is your smaller regional bank ETF, is also down over 1.64% at the moment. So we can expect something very similar right now from some of the other banks as well when they report earnings. So market's not looking super great at the moment. I mean, we are pulling back. This right here is the overall technical chart where we have consolidated sideways in that range. For the QQQs, continue to trade sideways between 314 to as much as 320. So those right there are going to be some potential levels to watch as support and resistance for QQQs. And I've also been sharing some other technical setups and potential day trading ideas for all the members in our private live streams. But yeah, right now we're just consolidating sideways in that range for quite some time here. Perfect. All right, let's see. Okay, works. Good morning. Your plan for Tesla is cool. I've already mentioned it. I have already sold a cash good put on Tesla yesterday. And on that, we're already up close to 18%, but Tesla pre-market right now is pulling back about 1.5% again, trading as low as 160. So it may give us another opportunity to sell even another cash good put on Tesla moving forward. So that's really what I'm paying attention to. If it continues to sell off, more cash good puts. If it continues to rally, then I'm going to be focusing on covered calls. So that's really where I'm at with Tesla. Yeah, Milan, 72 billion. That's quite a significant number there, no doubt. What's your opinion on the mid-cap ETF? I think there's value there. Mid-caps are really beat down. Yes, they are, certainly are. And from a valuation perspective, I think they do have a little bit more upside, in my opinion, and especially small caps too, because they have been selling off as large caps continue to push higher and take market cap away. Small cap, mid caps definitely do have a little bit more in the tank in terms of the upside. Yes, TMF is up 3%, Kevin, because the yields have been rolling over. So the yields right now, you can see that we're back down to under 3.5%. So 1.89% down on the day so far. So TMF, of course, since it's a levered ETF for 20-year treasuries, it is pushing higher because the 20-year treasury ETF goes up when the yields on the 20-year comes down, and it is coming down right now. So we're seeing a little bit of momentum back up. Coinbase, lots of people asking about Coinbase today, surprisingly, so we can go over that here. And right now, as it stands, Coinbase is up 0.5%. It's obviously very much dependent on Bitcoin and how crypto trades. And Bitcoin, for the most part, has been consolidating sideways. It actually did have a very strong rally. So did Ether, so did Bitcoin. And once again, we're starting to roll right back down. It's back under 28,000. So really that support is going to be at 25K for Coinbase, for Bitcoin. And for Coinbase, that's going to be $45, $46, all the way down to as low as $32 per share for Coinbase. So again, from a fundamental standpoint, it was a very nice, consistently profitable company. But at the moment, it is struggling with the drop in crypto prices. And as a result, not as much trading activity or volume. As a result, not as much commissions and fees. And right now, we're just seeing a lot of sideways consolidation for Coinbase. So support level $45, $46 with a resistance at $85, $86 per share for this stock. So again, thank you so much for joining, everyone. Make sure that you drop a like as you are coming in. I would really appreciate it. Caddy hits SoFi. I don't really. I mean, SoFi still needs to prove itself, right? It needs to perform. Fundamentally speaking, it needs to turn the corner towards profitability, and if it can execute well, then I have nothing against SoFi. I would absolutely love to own it, but it's just more of a risk reward is a little bit on the higher side. And right now you can see that we're just mostly consolidating in that range where support is going to be at roughly $4.50, resistance all the way up to $8. So we're really in that $4 range within which SoFi has been trading at. So it's definitely a very nice tradable stock, but from a fundamental long-term perspective, still got lots of work to do. So, all right, let's see here. NVS, Novartis posted good earnings. So let's take a look at that company here. So pushing higher 4%. And let's take a look. Pharmaceutical company. So I believe this is a company that we have talked about in the past before. But very, very, consistent revenues and earnings. But again, it's very flat. And right now it seems like it is incredibly overbought. So I wouldn't be surprised for this stock to actually open higher, so gap up and then make a red candle. So red candle on a green day is very normal for stocks like these where they are already pushing higher, they're overbought, and not to mention they're gapping up even more. So it's very much possible that we do see intraday selling for this stock. So a red candle on a green day. So, lots to discuss because we do have earnings later today. So we got Microsoft and Google and, of course, Meta, Amazon, all those companies reporting later this week. And not to mention the Fed meeting is going to be next week on May 3rd. So that's going to be on the agenda. And then technically speaking, the market's rally has been very much concentrated. We've talked about the market breadth. We've talked about the volatility. We've talked about the signals from the bond market. And not to mention the technical resistance that both the S&P and the NASDAQ are approaching at the moment. So both the S&P and the NASDAQ are at a very critical area of resistance, and it's really going to come down to the bulls and the bears and the battle between them and whether we see a breakout above this bear camp or get rejected yet again. So Frankie's sentiments for QQQ. Right now, there has been some weakness. I mentioned this in our Discord earlier in the Market Updates channel where there is a little bit of weakness here, lower highs and lower lows from QQQs. So right now, we're gapping down. I'm going to be watching some support levels at 314 down to 312 for potential trades on TQQQ on the long side and for us to get a retest back up to 316 to as much as 317.50. So those right there are going to be a couple levels to watch. As I mentioned in my yesterday's market update video as well, you can see that we got rejected here. That was exactly the resistance we were watching during our private live stream. Got rejected, sold off down to this support, and then perfectly bounced off of this level. So a couple day trades that were available on SQQQs here and TQQQs over here. And again, on the day today, we're watching same levels, and I'll be calling them out in our Discord later if anybody's interested in any of those day trading opportunities. Um, Alex, we've been rejected many times already. What does it make to push through and start a new uptrend, or nothing has changed yet? I think it's gonna take earnings and just the idea that economic conditions are improving and not worsening. Because as I mentioned in my yesterday's video, that an earnings recession doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be an economic recession, right? So an earnings recession doesn't always result in an economic recession, but an economic recession most certainly results in an earnings recession. So I think it's all going to come down to how the economy performs over the next couple of quarters, and can it sustain these low levels of unemployment, the high levels of growth, and earnings, can they be sustainable over the next couple of quarters? If there's any weakness that's brewing with the higher interest rates, if it starts to really show some signs of weakness, then it's possible that we start to rotate back lower and of course come back down. But if inflation continues to trend lower, if the situation improves, we start to see the Federal Reserve kind of ease off a little bit, take the foot off the gas and start cutting rates. I think that's going to be enough for the markets to start moving back to the upside and getting a breakout past these levels for QQQs, SQQQs, all these different things. So yeah, I mean, markets have been very, very calm right now, right? It's been very flat for the most part. It's been a good tradable month for the most part for QQQs. But yeah, FRC really struggling right now, pre-market, down a little bit over 26% at the moment. So selling off. And again, this is going to be the state of some of the regional banks. But the interesting thing is that Warren Buffett has already mentioned that there's not going to be a single person that actually loses their deposit with any of the banks. Doesn't matter if it's a large bank, small bank, medium bank, they're not going to lose any of their deposits. But it's more of a psychological problem. And even though the depositors are safe, the banks may not be, right? And what that means is that even though their deposits are safe at these banks, people still might not want to hold their deposits at these banks. And that's really hurting the bank itself. And where are they going to put it into? They're going to put it into some of the larger banks. And that's what really we've seen. I mean, a lot of the deposit inflows. So, I mean, the last couple earnings from banks, we've seen a complete switch up, right? JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi, all taking in billions of dollars worth of deposits in. And as a result, reporting higher numbers, revenues, earnings, trading profits, whatnot. And, small and regional banks really hurting, right? Starting with First Republic, reporting $72 billion worth of outflows. And if you kind of exclude for the $30 billion they got from the larger banks, $100 billion worth of outflows. So absolutely wild. And that really speaks to the longevity of these banks if nobody starts to trust them anymore. So it's going to be an unfortunate situation for a lot of these smaller regional banks here. GM had pretty good earnings, surprisingly. So do you have an opinion on InMode, great balance sheet, and future prospects? So yes, InMode, we've already talked about it on the channel before. My fair value is going to be in the low 20s. So that's what we're really watching. It has done really well, no doubt. Margins are one of the strongest ones because this is a company based out of Israel. And as a result, their US counterparts are not able to compete as well as a company like InMode, where the margins are high. And they also had a tax break for about 10 years, but my fair value is going to be sitting roughly in the low 20s, and that's really what I'm watching for the company. If it ever comes down to that level, I would be interested in, taking a position again. But yes, from a technical standpoint, very nice support at $27, $20, nice bounce back higher, approaching a resistance now at over $40. So that's going to be a level to watch for InMode. UPS down 5%. Yes. So UPS earnings are a pretty good indicator of where the economy is also going, right? So they did guide for lower revenue and earnings for the future. So they missed on revenue, slight beat on EPS. But the more important thing was the guidance, which was not great for the company. And because they're the ones that are delivering all these parcels, right? I mean, they're one of the biggest delivery companies out there, logistic companies. And if they're guiding down on their forecast for 23, that just really goes to show that U.S. retail sales are decelerating. The consumer isn't spending as much as what we learned before and they're a pretty good indicator of where the demand is going, and it's really not that strong at the moment. So, right now down 6%. We're gonna see what other companies are gonna report. Amazon's gonna be later this week and what they guide for. So it's gonna get quite interesting very soon here. Which of the FANG earnings of this week are you most bullish and least bullish about, or maybe even bearish? Because that's a great question. I'm surprisingly bullish on Meta. I feel like they're gonna be able to report some good numbers, even though the stock's a little bit more overbought here. And, looking at intrinsic value estimates and calculators and whatnot, it might suggest that, Meta's fair value is closer to 175, 180. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do announce, Reels monetization comes in good, engagement comes in good, and WhatsApp business chat comes in good, and they report some good numbers with some cost cuts and, with more focus on an efficient way of utilizing metaverse and AI and kind of like those things. So that's number one. And then the bearish one, I would say, Microsoft never disappoints, right? So Microsoft is actually a very strong company. They almost always, beat expectations. If not, they manage to grow to the upside. So right now, we're expecting EPS to be pretty flat, 1% growth on a year-over-year basis. But I don't know. It's kind of priced for perfection, right? It's priced for almost perfect numbers in the future. And if you have a stock like Enphase or Nvidia or Microsoft that are priced for perfection, it's any small margin of error or any small disappointing number can really take it down. So not that I'm like bearish on Microsoft or anything, long-term super bullish, and I believe in the company long-term, but just going into these earnings, it's kind of like, it's priced for perfection. And Google hasn't really moved much, so I'm Google kind of neutral going into these earnings. It can swing in either direction, really. So Nick, Caddy, I'm still not getting consistent access to private videos. Thus far, I've had access to one single private video transmission thus far. Nick, all you have to do is just go to the private live stream channel. Like on Discord, if you can just go to the private live streams, I post all the links there, and you can access all the private live streams over there. All the links are going to be there. So simply just go to the private live stream channel. It's a private Discord channel that we have, and you'll have access to all the channels there. So should be pretty easy. If you still have any issues, just DM me on Discord, and I'll get that over to you, and then make sure that you have access to all of those. Well, so no, we're doing twice a week. We're doing public live streams. So Tuesday, Thursday is the schedule right now, is when we are doing public live streams. Anyway, so going back over to the market, we are ready to open in about 20 seconds now. It's gonna be a little bit of a gap down, but it's gonna be quite interesting whether we see buyers stepping in or if we continue to see a little bit of a sell-off intraday. But really, that support level 314, 315 is gonna be that level to watch for the market. All right, off we go here. I feel like my computer is lagging up a little bit. All right, so here we go. QQQs here. Opening down 0.5% on the back of those earnings. So we are down to 314, but we're approaching a very important support level. So that's what we're going to be paying attention to in the first 5 minutes. Definitely pulling back a little bit. So NASDAQ gapping down about 0.5%. We've got the S&P here also down about 42 basis points, with the Dow Jones flat on the day so far. And the 10-year yields are still lower, about 1.5% at the moment, with KRE, which is again your regional bank ETF, down a little bit over 1.9, close to 2%. So continuing to sell off at the moment. Perfect. Well, thanks so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And again, if you have any questions, just message me Matthew, I had the same issue not being able to watch private videos. Make sure to sign in Patreon, first link, and then over to Discord. Yeah, so if you have any problems kind of viewing the channels, just message me and I'll definitely walk you through. There's definitely, there's some technical difficulties that happen every so often, but message me or email me and I'm happy to walk you through the whole process of how to get access to all the channels. Especially you want to have access to the private live streams and the market updates and the private chat and the alerts. So all those you should have access to if you're a member, and you should be all set and ready to go. So QQQ is some buyers stepping in right now. On the 5-minute chart, we are starting in on the green here. So it's not unlikely to go up there and fill in the gap, right? So because we are gapping down here, so it is possible that we go up there to fill the gap before rotating back lower, but we are still very much in the context of this consolidation sideways, right? Support level is going to be a 314, 315 with a resistance all the way to 317.55. All right. Yeah, Timothy, why is NVIDIA not falling like AMD? NVIDIA has been doing really well, no doubt. NVIDIA has been absolutely crushing it. Well, it has been doing really well, but at the same time, it's managed to close above that 21 EMA every single time. Like every time we come down to that 21 EMA, buyers step in. There is, from a technical perspective, there are buyers present at that level. And we're just getting bought up every single time we get up to that level. So as you can see, that 21 EMA, even yesterday, like we came down to that level of 266.75, and then we immediately had buyers stepping in, and we closed at 270. So as soon as it breaks below that level, I'm going to be a lot more confident for NVIDIA to break down and flush even lower, but it's just not able to break below that level. So sentiment's pretty high. There's definitely a lot of buyers present at those prices. And for those reasons, we're not able to see a breakdown yet. And it's been driving higher on lower volume, right? So it's definitely been pushing up on lower volume. So that's something to keep in mind here for NVIDIA, because the sentiment's still pretty strong. NVIDIA is rigged. With you there. With you there, absolutely. So Tesla here down 1.5%, so still under 160 at the moment. We've got Microsoft a little bit lower, 90 basis points. Again, both Microsoft and Google reporting earnings at the close of today. So QQQ is here rotating back lower a little bit, just consolidating sideways. So didn't really see a whole lot of gap fill, but it's going to be interesting how we trade in and around the support level at 314, 315 for the QQQs. It's once again coming down to a very important support level here. Let's see how First Republic Bank is doing, if there's any buyers biting here. So nope, still a red candle and down almost 27% at the moment. Still selling off pretty aggressively here. And as a result, we do have KRE just really consolidating sideways right now. So if you come over to the banking watch list, what do we got? So we got FRC kind of leading the way, down 27%, but then we also do have other banks. So Deutsche Bank down 3%. We got Barclays, we got Wells Fargo, we got HSBC, TFC, all of them really selling off and pulling back here. Milan, how is this not halted? Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's definitely been very, very volatile. First Republic Bank going to be the next SVB. Well, I think it really depends how much capital they need to function, to operate. You know, if they can make do with about $100 billion that they have left, because they did get a capital injection from some of the biggest banks. So if they don't survive with the capital injection there, then yes, it's possible that they do fail and become the next Silicon Valley Bank. But I think they'll be fine, because the rate of these deposit outflows has slowed down. So it's not going to be as aggressive anymore, but then you never know, you know. The bear market rally is over. Morgan Stanley chief equity strategist Mike Wilson. Yeah, well, he is almost always bearish. There's a few people in the industry that you always have to know about. Mike Wilson, Morgan Stanley, is it? Or JP Morgan? Morgan Stanley, always bearish. Tom Lee Fundstrat, always bullish. I have not yet seen... Well, I guess Mike Wilson, have seen him be a little bit more optimistic about the markets, I think 2021 maybe. But Tom Lee, I don't think I've ever seen him ever be bearish. There's this long-lasting meme where, like, the moment Tom Lee becomes bearish on the market, it's time to go. It's time to literally just get out of the market. But no, I've yet to see Tom Lee be bearish. Jim Cramer, yeah, I mean, Jim Cramer is a different breed. He's a whole different species when it comes to market analysis. So yeah, everyone, make sure that you drop a like. I would really appreciate it. And anyway, so let's take a look. ZS falling here. Oleg is over Tom Lee. Let's take a quick look on the markets here. So QQQ is once again consolidating sideways. I'm going to be very tempted to take a trade on this after the live stream. Might alert everybody in the Discord, but we are at a very nice support on the Qs. Looking at the VWAPs, we're just mostly trading sideways and consolidating. So it's possible that we do see some buyers stepping in here, because Apple just broke out, consolidated sideways at that support. And you're also seeing the momentum from Google. You're seeing the momentum from Microsoft. I might be a little late here on this potential rally, but again, going to be keeping a close eye on this resistance all the way up to 316, 317 for QQQs. Oil prices, we haven't touched on this yet, but down about almost 1.5%, back under $78 at the moment. So Akash, yes, make sure that you do join on the 1st of the month, unless you plan to join annually, because then you get a 16% discount. But yes, I would encourage you to join on the 1st of the month, so that you can take advantage of that and you don't get charged twice. Tuan says, man, Caddy, I'm killing it with your picks. I'm going to introduce my friend to your Patreon. So thank you so much, Tuan. I really appreciate it and glad you are absolutely crushing it in the markets. And again, we're going to be, paying attention to both day trades and swing trades, and of course, long-term strategies as well. So there's going to be a mix of all of it. Anyway, so that's going to be it for today, everyone. Again, thank you so much for joining in. Tesla's down a little bit. Nvidia is pulling back. So we're very much consolidating sideways for the market for the most part. We've got the NASDAQ here flat or slightly down 0.5%. We got the S&P down 45 basis points. We got the Dow Jones also very much sideways, to as much as 1 basis point lower. So again, I'm a little bit distracted because I am looking at some trade ideas that I will be sharing with everybody in the Discord, because time is of the essence in the market, right? You're going to want to take the advantage of the opportunities that present themselves. So QQQ is out of support. We'll be talking a little bit more about this in our Discord. So again, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate you guys. Make sure that you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. And again, link's going to be down in the description below if you're interested in joining us. And of course, get access to all the binds alerts, options alerts, all that stuff. So thank you so much. Happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.